Man. Hey guys, welcome back to End of Pursuit. I'm your host, Wyatt Weaver, and currently we're here right outside Cody, Wyoming, filming hunting and fishing videos. That's what we got going on this year here in Wyoming. If you guys never been on this channel before, it pretty much is all about hunting and fishing and all about motivational speaking. We tell different things, different approaches to life. Like for example, I quit my job in Pennsylvania. I quit a lot of things in Pennsylvania to come out here and pursue my dream in the hunting and fishing industry on YouTube, making cool motivational speaking videos for you guys. And that's what I'm doing here. And so if you guys like that kind of stuff, you know, we have a whole bunch of hunting videos, fishing videos, a whole bunch of stuff like that. Now for today, we're actually going to be telling you guys a hunting story. And we don't typically do these things, but you know, since hunting season's around and I'm originally from Pennsylvania, I decided it would be a perfect time for me to tell some of my Pennsylvania hunting stories for all you Pennsylvania hunters out there. Nothing too complicated. I do like telling these things sometimes, so hope you guys enjoy, and you never know, might you know, pique some of your guys' interest to go ahead and tell your guys' story. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. And so the time frame that this story took place was actually last year before Pennsylvania archery season. And I know some of you guys were like, how did you kill a deer before Pennsylvania season started? Well, throughout the story I'll tell you a little bit about it, but this is my first ever Pennsylvania, or first ever archery deer kill. Last year I was seriously involved in archery. I bought some good equipment and was like, you know, I'm determined to go ahead and shoot something with this year. So that's what I was doing. I was out seriously hunting like all the time. But before even hunting season even started, I was driving around in a place near where I grew up in Pennsylvania. There was this property that I saw, and this guy here had a sign out that said something like deer management, hunting, you know, crop damage, or you know, deer control area or something like that. So I was like, okay, what's that going on? So I went online and researched what that sign actually meant. And here it's when a property owner pretty much goes to a Pennsylvania Game Commission and states, hey, I have so much of my property, X amount of my crops being destroyed from tens of deer or a couple deer, and I can't shoot them. There's tens of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars destroyed from my property because of deer killing or eating it, and I can't do anything about it. And pretty much nowadays, farmers, or even throughout history, farmers rely most of their income on about how much crops they have and how much, you know, miscellaneous meat comes from their animal. And so when farmers have so much of their property being destroyed from deer, that's when they go to the Pennsylvania Game Commission website saying, hey, can I harvest some of these deer, or can I publicize to harvest some of these deer? And so that's what I was doing. I was actually hunting a deer a couple weeks before Pennsylvania deer season even started. It kind of felt weird, to be honest, because it was extremely warm and the corn was still up and stuff like that. But it was kind of a unique experience. So that's what I was doing. And this property that was in particular hunting, essentially it was a property that was beside an area where tons of deer lived, but you weren't even allowed to hunt it. Like, it was open to the public, but you weren't allowed to hunt it. So they had 50 or even 100 deer in that property beside the property that I was hunting. And X amount of them would come over to that property that I was wanting to hunt. They would cross the road and come over to that property to eat this guy's corn and crops and whatever, like radishes or, you know, whatever he was having. Now, I don't know how much crops or how many different types of crops this guy's property had, but I do know that during the time that I was hunting, he might have had like alfalfa and corn standing up. Some of the corn was harvested, some of the corn wasn't harvested. But I do know that there was like rows of corn and no corn and corn and no corn and then harvested corn. There are different rows of different stuff at different times. And so I originally go to this guy's property, you know, get my bow, get set up and ask permission. He's like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and hunt. So I'm out here at this property looking for the perfect place to sit for that evening. I was actually hunting in the evening in hopes of the deer would come over close to dusk from that property you weren't allowed to hunt, coming over, and I was, you know, potentially getting a shot at one of these deer. So looking around this guy's property, and here I find most of the majority of the sign was right along the corn edges. They weren't actually inside the field where there wasn't any corn. They was right along the corn edges, and then every now and then there was a trail that parked and that took off into that, you know, alfalfa per se field or whatever it was. And so I told myself, you know what? There's not really much places you can set up, but what you can set up is inside the cornfield. So I picked a perfect location. I picked a location that I thought would be, you know, a prime spot to hide from these deer. And what that was is like maybe like a row and a half in corn, enough that I can go out and reach in front and shoot, or if there's a deer beside me, I can stretch out a little bit and shoot through the row to my right or to my left, or if it was right in front of me, I would have a little angle in between the corn stalks to shoot a deer. So I was like, you know, I'm actually hidden in here. I don't think a deer would really suspect corn. You know, I've done this multiple times at different spots, and actually it turns out pretty good. Hiding weeds, hiding corn, because it's natural. And then even though the deer are looking at your level, you're kind of secluded from, you're kind of hidden, and you're pretty much hiding in something that's natural, something that's already been there. If you set up a blind, it looks like, okay, that's kind of different. A deer sees that, it's kind of different. So I was just hiding in the middle of that corn, and actually the second row of corn, right on the stalks. So the first stalk and the second stalk, I was chilling right there, just waiting, right? I was thinking to myself, the trail that I'm hunting on is literally right beside the first stalk. It's right along the corn row. I was like, what would be the odds if a deer walks right in front of me? I know that's what I'm specifically hunting, but how many times does it actually happen when you're out hunting? A deer comes that close to you, has no idea you're there. Anyway, so I was sitting there for a couple hours waiting, and here I start seeing two doe come across the road over from the property. These are big doe. Coming over, and they stopped right on the other side of the road. I was like, you know, 100 yards over from the road, 75 yards from the road, waiting for these deer to come across. Enough from the road for protecting you from the highway, of course, and also I want to be hidden from the general public. So these deer coming across, and they stopped right at the edge of the property, right next to the road, just stop there and stare right out in the middle of the field. And they're like, nope, I'm out of here. I don't know if there was a gust of wind, even though there was no wind, but they sensed something was wrong, and they just took off, bolted. That was around 6. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember that day, it got dark at 6:40. I know that because I knew these deer were going to come over right before dark, and I wanted to be able to make sure I was 100% legal with my shooting time, pretty much. So, you know, those deer originally that got kicked out came over around 6 o'clock, and then a couple of minutes later, maybe 10 minutes later, here, doe that came over that were a little bit smaller than those doe, and they start putzing around the field, and then sure enough, they come right below the cornfield, right where I was thinking they would come. They start walking right along the corn edge, and they're just putzing forever, and it took forever, all right? They took 30 minutes from the start of there just to walk like 175 yards. I mean, it's not a long time, but for me, whenever I have a limited amount of time, it felt forever. So these deer are walking, taking so long, and I'm getting antsed up. I don't have my camera at this time with me, okay, you know, but they're just taking forever, and I was checking my time, make sure I'm 100% legal. Sure enough, these deer start walking, and they start feeding. One actually parts over into the alfalfa per se to start feeding earlier than where I'm at, but the other one just keeps on walking. I'm like, I'm starting to get stoked up, man. Like, this deer's at this time about 10 feet from me. So I start to pull back, and I'm about halfway drawn, and this deer starts walking in front of me, and I'm still halfway drawn because I want to move right before he gets to me, but he's taking forever. So I didn't want to draw back and hold that for a couple minutes and then not be able to shoot properly. So here this deer comes walking right in front of me. We're 4 to 5 feet away, and I have no choice. I'm half drawn, and all of a sudden this deer just turns and stares right at my face, and I'm freaking staring right at this thing's eyeballs. That's from my body, 4 or 5 feet from my body. The arrow to the deer was like 2 feet, 2.5, 3 feet, okay? I could have almost reached up and poked the deer with my arrow. That's how close we were. So I'm staring right at this deer. I'm like, okay, I have no way not to blink. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shift my body, pretend like I'm a leaf, just shift my body enough that it looks like one of those corn waves are blowing, because I don't know if this deer can 100% see me through silhouettes and stuff, but he's staring straight at my eyes, I feel like. So I shifted just a little bit, and the deer he just freaks out, right? He just freaks out a little bit and just walks to about 20 yards. He's walking like away from me, so I can't shoot him behind, but that's my time to draw. So my plan was to shift, right? To get that deer hopefully back up a little bit, not run away, but get back up a little bit, and that's what he did. He went up to about 20 yards, and then I pulled back, and then he turned and stared back to where he saw that movement, pulled back, shot, arrow went right through his heart. The shot was like right behind the shoulder. I mean, it was dead center behind the shoulder. The deer just dropped and just went instantly dead. I mean, I thought personally that deer would take off, and it was just the coolest thing. It was a heck of an incident, heck of an experience. You know, got deer in the freezer and stuff like that, and you know, helped out a farmer with his property. So that was just a cool experience. But you know, that's just a story, nothing too complicated for you guys. You know, I know some of you guys have some awesome stories as well. So if you want to like DM me your story on Instagram, you're more than welcome to do that. Here's my Instagram, it's gonna be down below in the video. But if you have a story, you know, send that to me over my way. If you have a picture with it, maybe I can write something, make a post for you guys on my Instagram page. If you want to follow me, you can. If you have a picture even in archery season that you want me to post, give you guys a shout out on my Instagram page to your guys' channel, I can more than happy do that as well. But other than that, you know, this is Pennsylvania deer hunting stories for you guys. This is from last year, Pennsylvania deer hunting. If you guys enjoyed this little hunting story from 5 feet away, a deer comes 5 feet away from me, kind of story. I know I was tripping out at the moment. I was like jittering excitement. But until next time, if you like these kind of things, let me know. Message me down below if you want to see more of these stories or hear more of these stories from me or from other hunters. And I will see you guys next time on Antlered Pursuit.